It's Wednesday, July 24th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we welcome Barnstable Adult Community Center Assistant Director Donna Marie Burns to the studio, discover pop-up libraries in our villages, get ready for hurricane season, and we found out more about emerging contaminants of concern. Now for a look at municipal and legislative notes. The town of Barnstable escaped much of the destructive winds and tornado activity through the Southside villages, though the Southside villages of Hyannisport and Osterville had pockets of tree damage and road closures. If possible, please stay off the roads while crews clear down trees and wires. If you're out and about, please make sure you're paying attention to what is around you. For downed trees on roadways, please call the DPW Highway Division at 508-790-6330. For downed wires, please call Eversource at 1-800-592-2000. Are you on the town's reverse 911 system? When we received notice about tornado warnings yesterday morning, the Barnstable Police Department activated the town's reverse 911 system. Make sure you are on the list. Sign up at www.barnstablepolice.com. What is Code Red and why is it important to you? Code Red is an emergency notification service by which town officials can notify Barnstable residents and businesses by telephone, cellular phone, text message, or electronic mail about time-sensitive emergency situations or important community alerts. The system is capable of sending messages only to specific neighborhoods or the entire town. Only authorized officials are allowed to use the system. Intern Olivia Morrow brings us this heartwarming story of pop-up neighborhood libraries.
If you're a bit of a bookworm, you'll be happy to know that the neighborhood libraries have expanded. Now, on the corner of Highland and Chase Street, there are several new libraries you and your family can visit. These libraries belong to everyone in the community. There are books available for adults, kids, and children. You may take a book to read, and when you're finished, you can return it for a new book. Donations are always accepted and encouraged, so be a supporter and donate books for others to enjoy. Donations go under the seats of the reading benches. A prize box has been placed next to the libraries to show support of all the good readers. The Kindness Rocks project is just as important. If you see a painted rock you like, you may take it. If you see an unpainted rock, we ask that you pass on the kindness by designing your own and leaving it for the next lucky reader. Other neighborhood libraries are featured at Nirvana Coffee Shop and Craigsville Beach. This one was created by our very own town carpenter. The neighborhood libraries remind the community about the importance of reading and passing on knowledge as well as kindness.
Check on your neighbors and save the date for a very important workshop. Updates from the Barnstable Adult Community Center. It's really hot out there, and with me today, Donna Marie Burns from the Barnstable Adult Community Center with a message. Let's check on your elderly neighbors. It's very hot out there.
It is extremely hot. I keep reminding people that we'll be complaining about the cold soon enough, but truly this is epic heat and very dangerous, particularly for older adults. And we are reminding people, hydrate, really try to drink as much water as you can manage. And also, if you have an air conditioner, don't use it. Do use it, please. This is not a time to be worrying like so many older adults do about, their bills. The energy-saving machines today really do not put a huge load on your bill. So please use those air conditioners. And I would encourage everyone that has an older adult in their neighborhood, please check in on them, especially if you have not seen them for a while. Knock on the door, make sure they're okay. If we can assist you with anything, please call us at the Barnstable Adult Community Center. That is what we're here for, and we will certainly do all that we can to assist anyone that's having any difficulties with the heat.
Fantastic. And the Barnstable Adult Community Center, we're still getting used to that rebranding. So give us an update. What's going on?
Well, it's been a very exciting couple of years, actually, because this was actually a project that we started few years back, there is a movement across the country and actually across the world to get away from ageist, taglines for people. Um, we felt that or actually people that are experts in aging services, really there's so much data to support that it belittles, it marginalizes older people. So there really is a move away from seniors and this little box that people long held, that when you get older, you lose your vitality, you lose your value to society, and it's just bleak and terrible. We know at our center that is not the case. We have folks in their 40s who come in, right up to the oldest person at 106 who is actively participating at our center. We're inspired every day by the capacity that people have to age well, especially now. There's so much more awareness as far as what you can do for yourself, staying healthy, staying active. Number one, determinant of a healthy aging outcome for you is to remain socially engaged. People need people, and you need to be building those social, network. That's what we're here for, to provide that. But it's been very exciting going back to our needs assessment when we asked our Barnstable community, what do you need? What do you see as the next 10 to 20 years for aging services in our town? And we had a wonderful, wonderful outpouring from the community. We partnered with UMass Boston Gerontology, McCormick Center, one of the foremost experts of this type of data retrieval in the country. And it brought us to this day. We are now, our department is called the Barnstable Council on Aging, which is more typical of what they're called in our state. But our building is the Barnstable Adult Community Center. And we knew that if people are going to age the best way they can, they need to start getting active at 50, at 60. And their idea of a senior center was a nursing home. Paula, we would have people come in and ask us how many beds we had. And you've been to our center.
Yeah, there's no beds there. There's a couple of dancing floors,
Yes.
some yoga mats, some
Ukulele
players, which really literally brings us to the tag of what's happening now is thriving in our community. You are now a designated age-friendly community through the Commonwealth and AARP. So that is, one of those, you worked very hard. The community's worked hard to get that designation. And being able to thrive as you age is one of those, I guess, pieces that people really don't understand. They think that, well, I'm going to retire and I might have some time for gardening, but my parents, well into their 80s and 90s now, are still busy.
And isn't that wonderful? What a wonderful example for you. And for most people, unless they have an underlying health issue, that actually is something that's attainable to the level that they are able to meet. And that is what we want for them. You mentioned Thrive. Our new motto is Thrive with Us, because we really feel that it should be aspirational for people. It's not a time in your life, as it has been portrayed for so long. It's sort of a joke. You just, mold in a rocking chair. That's not what we see. We see active, engaged people who are looking for opportunities to be, to have friends, to be fit, to travel if that's their thing, and that's what we're here for.
Right, and a lot of the classes and workshops that you have at the center obviously deal with, some of those hobbies that keep you young, or new things that may interest you. There's evening classes now that revolve around people's schedules, but you've got one workshop coming up that's really, really important, and that is folks dealing with substance abuse within their family. Talk a little bit about this workshop or presentation that's going to happen.
Well, we're very excited about this. I don't think it's actually forget Cape Cod, in the country. I think everyone has an awareness now that addiction is a priority health crisis in this country. And I don't know too many families that haven't been touched by a family member or a friend struggling with addiction, which can take many different forms. And especially for older adults, I think younger people, they are more comfortable reaching out to a support group or talking to other people about what's going on. But there's always been a shame thing for older folks, whether it's their children or their spouse or, as I said, a friend of the family, to talk about something like that. And it's really important because addiction just doesn't impact the person who is dealing with the addiction. It's the family, it's the friends, it's the children. And we see here on the Cape, there are many grandchildren who are being raised by their grandparents. And very often that is because their parents are dealing with some form of addiction. So Claudia Borden, our wonderful outreach coordinator, has put together a class or
Symposium.
a symposium. Thank you. That's
Presentation.
even better. On August 15th at the Barnstable Adult Community Center from 3 to 5, Claudia has arranged for experts from Gosnold, from Duffy Health, and from the Mashpee Substance Abuse Task Force to come and make a presentation on the status of what addiction looks like on the Cape, the different types, the effects on the family. There will also be an opportunity, because we understand this is a sensitive subject, that folks, if they have questions, will have cards that they can anonymously write their question down, and we'll just mix them up and hand them to the experts. There will be no way of anyone knowing who asked that question. So if you need to know something but you're a little shy or reluctant to feel as if you're disclosing something, this is a great opportunity. And I hope that if there are folks at home who are concerned, maybe they want to know, should they be worried, or what they can do to help, please join us. I think it will be well worth your while.
Okay. And the date was the
August 15th
and the
from
time?
3 to 5.
From 3 to 5. They can call the Senior Center for more
Yeah,
information?
please do. It's 508-862-4750. And you can just leave your first name. If you don't want to leave your first name or last name, that's fine. But I do encourage you to come. It's free, of course. And if you have any concerns or need information, we do hope you'll join us.
Right. And you'll make all those contacts as well. So if you
Absolutely.
can't ask questions or you're not really sure, what you might do there, at least go and learn about the agencies and the people that could help you if you need that help.
Just listen. No one's compelled to ask a question. No one's going to call on you in the audience. If you just want to come and listen, it's fine too.
Great. And then one of the other things, we don't want to say the word fall, but we will.
I know.
It'll come sooner rather than later. The relief from the heat comes with it. But then comes another thing that seniors have to worry about these days, which is fuel and getting their homes warm in the winter. And the Barnstable Adult Community Center really is this hub of where to get help. So talk a little bit about the fuel assistance program and why this time of year is important when we're not even thinking about heat.
Well, I will tell you, if you are someone who has received fuel assistance in the past, you actually should keep an eye out in your mail. Now, I know all of us get a lot of junk mail. I know I do. I have a tendency, just if I don't know who it's from, to tear it up. Pay attention, because you will be receiving your renewal application. So don't throw that away. If you need some help filling it out or have any questions, you can certainly call us. If you are someone who is struggling, it's expensive depending on the type of fuel that you use to heat your home. I will tell you that the fuel assistance does not require it be gas or propane or whatever. This covers all costs for that. And actually, if it's included in your rent, the fuel assistance will give you some relief with one of your monthly rent, one or two, depending on what you qualify for. And I will tell you, last year, the income for one, for a qualifier, this is an income qualified program. For one person, if you made less than $35,510 for one person, or $46,437 for a household of two, you would qualify for assistance. So there are many, many people out there that will qualify. And this is a lifesaver for a lot of people. And I would encourage you, if you have any questions, to call our outreach department, 508-862-4754, and we can answer any questions, get you applications, help you with applications. And there's another one in August. Nobody likes to pay real estate taxes, but it's just a fact of life. There is assistance, however, here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This is another income qualified program. We have not received what the levels are for this year. However, I would say that it's definitely worth looking into. It's a beautiful place to live, our wonderful Cape Cod, but it's expensive. And when you're on a fixed income, anything that you are able to get that will help you, I certainly encourage you to try.
Right. Being able to save some money on
Certainly.
some of those monthly things, especially fuel, because you don't know how the winter's going to go. Being already signed up for it is the actual goal here.
Exactly.
Is not to wait until you can't pay for one of your bills. You want to do that way ahead of time. And the same thing with your real estate bills. Those, I know Barnstable's has just gone out for 2019 and 2020, so I think August 1st is the first bill due. So there's lots of others that are coming in after that. So excellent. Any last updates?
Yes, as you know, we have a day program at the Barnstable Adult Community Center. I'm very proud to say it's been over 20 years. We were one of the first programs. This is a social day program, Monday through Friday, 9 to 3. It's very affordable for Barnstable residents. We have transportation for folks. If you're a senior who is at home alone and lonely, you're not able, perhaps you're a caregiver and you have, mom, dad, or a family member who can no longer safely stay home alone, this is a low-cost, high-quality, structured program that residents of Barnstable are so lucky to have available, and we do have openings. So I would encourage anyone, a caregiver or someone that's home alone and they're lonely and they'd love to come and be active all day. We have entertainment, we have games, it's wonderful. Pets that come in to see us. It's a great program, and I would encourage you to call us. The number for that program is, you can call Stacy or myself, Donna. It's 508-862-4765. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or really lonely, give us a call.
Come thrive with us.
Come thrive with us, please.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Donna.
You're very welcome. Pleasure to be here.
What are PFAS and PFOA chemicals classified as emerging contaminants of concern? Hans Kaiser, Hyannis Water Supply Supervisor, helps us understand what they are and where they might be found.
Emerging contaminants are contaminants that we don't have any regulation for and that are new. We haven't really tested before for them, and sometimes the testing needs to happen at such a low level that the laboratory equipment that we used to have or we had access to wasn't able to do that, and now the equipment is much better, so now those contaminants starting to show up, and we have to figure out what that means, if they're okay, if they're harmful, at what levels are they okay, at what levels are they harmful, And if they are, how do you take them out? There's two things. One, those with those snouts on it, you know, where it tapers off, those are more for sampling. But you take samples to make sure you don't get contaminated water, okay? Those have to do with the analyzers. What happens is the chlorine, the pH, which is the corrosion issue, they get sampled constantly, 24/7. And how that works is we run water by them and then dump a little water that gets kind of wasted. So we sample constantly, every minute or so. And then that gets translated into an electronic pulse, and that goes into the system that we just saw, that screen, and then it goes to the main headquarters. PFAS is basically a group of chemicals. There's like a couple of hundred of them with all different, very long, difficult chemical names. But basically they deal with issues they are in firefighting foams, they're on Gore-Tex, they're basically dealing with making materials waterproof, so they repel water, and these chemicals are one of the many emerging contaminants, and we're finding out now that these chemicals can be harmful. At what levels and for who is being right now researched. At this moment, we're looking at 6 PFASs, and at this moment, there's an ORSG out, and it's like a health standard for Massachusetts that is 70 parts per trillion, and they're talking about going down to 20, but it hasn't happened yet. So what we're trying to do here in Hyannis is to deal with this issue and to position ourselves with pumping out of certain wells and testing so that we can be under 20 as much as we can. Complicating the issue is because we're in a pretty urban environment and our wells are, that we do have wells that are contaminated above that level. Especially Mary Dunn, but there's 3 wells there that were impacted by the Fire Training Academy, and the filtration systems were installed in those wells with activated carbon in them, and after we run the water through those, we get a non-detect, so that water is good after we treat it.
With yesterday's scare with a tornado here on Cape Cod, do you and your family have a plan for when disaster strikes? Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills Fire Chief Mike Wynn has some great advice.
The best advice we have is to be aware, and I know it sounds cliche in Awareness Week, but really pay attention to what's coming as far as weather reports, messages from your elected leaders, and public safety messages from the departments that respond. These folks take a great deal of time, energy, and hard work in making sure we get the best, most accurate, up-to-date information out to our residents and our guests. And it's important for you to pay attention to what those messages say or recommend. When we think about preparedness, the first thing I would recommend is if you live in our district, you should know your zone, and knowing your zone means where are you if there's a flood. Those maps are on our website, they're on the MEMA website, they're available for everyone to see and look at and really consider what would happen to where you live if we were to have a hurricane such as the one bearing down on the Carolinas and the Virginia coast? What would that mean? And it's easy to see online. Know your zone is a very important component. The next component I would think about is the ability to be self-sufficient. If we have a major weather emergency and you have to be self-reliant, that's going to require you to prepare for 3 to 4 days of fresh water, food, and have a contact off Cape that can check in on you in the case communication systems go down. So you have some way of communicating, if you can, with someone off Cape who could relay messages to us. If folks are asked to evacuate, it's not because we want to hinder you or burden you. It's because we may not be able to respond to your location should there be an emergency. Evacuation notices are taken very seriously. They can really only be offered by the governor. And if someone says it's time to evacuate, it's because it's time to evacuate. We take that very seriously. Be self-sufficient for 3 days. Have food, water. Make sure your pets are taken care of. Make sure you have meds ready to cover you if you have any prescription issues. And just be ready to be self-reliant. We may not be able to help. In the event of a Category 2 or 3 hurricane, the wind is going to limit our ability to respond because it simply won't be safe to put our responders on the road. We will take every response on a risk-based assessment, and there may be times where, due to weather, water, flood heights, street closings, we may not be able to get out and effect aid if requested. That's a two-way street, so if you hear of the wind and you hear of the water, that also means you shouldn't be out on the road, or you should be in a safe place as well. The biggest component is, honestly, is to be aware and to listen to the messages that are coming out from the agencies that are charged with protecting you. We offer a great deal of hurricane preparedness resources on our website, which would be www.comfiredistrict.com. In addition, you can go to the MEMA website, the Massachusetts Emergency Management website. They have a great deal of information specifically to Awareness Week, but also those Know Your Zone flood maps, tips for preparing self-sustainment for 3 days, and the things to consider for your family and your pets. So MEMA.gov has a lot. Remember that children are going to be listening to everything you're hearing on the TV. Even my 3-year-old son today at home was asking me about Hurricane Florence and if it was coming to Cape Cod. Children are very perceptive, and they know exactly what's going on because they hear the same messages that you hear. It's important to comfort your children and let them know that we'll take care of them the best we can, and have them be prepared for a bug out if necessary. The elderly are our greatest concern, whether it's a resident who lives at home who's on oxygen at home or requires a lot of prescription medications. Those folks need to be really looked at as a at-risk population for us as a community. We have shelters available here in the town of Barnstable and on Cape Cod, but really the elderly need to have the ability to have someone help them to be sustainable if something goes bad with a storm. We ask neighbors to check on their elderly neighbors. We ask family to check on their elderly family members. And just remember, there may be times we just simply cannot get to you because of the conditions of the storm.
Here's a look at the upcoming meetings for boards, commissions, and committees. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.